language, whether the language is written or the language is a form of speech, has to have some elements and has to have some tasks that are to be achieved via the language itself. So we say that, of course, these elements and these tasks are to be understood by us in order to analyze any given text in the correct way. Discourse analysis focuses on the thread of language as if it is okay, used in the situation network. Any piece of language, whether that language, as I have said, oral, speaking, or written, a written text, is composed of a set of grammatical cues or clues. These means it has some cues and clues that help me as a reader or helps me as a listener to understand what is going on. Helps me as a reader to understand the text given. Helps me as a listener to understand what is said to me. Any piece of language, oral or written, is composed of a set of grammatical cues or clues. That was said by Gambers, and Gambers is known to be a very great and good linguist indeed, that help listeners or readers, as I have said, to build 6 things. These 6 things that the reader or the listener, these 6 buildings are to be understood by you with their definitions. To build 6 things. Things means tasks. Now, in one sense of the word, of course, these 6 things are interlinked. In other words, these things are not separated. They have something in common. They are linked in a way or another. 6 things are interlinked representations, that is, re-representings. I refers to G, of course, the author of the book, want to stress that utterances, the speech in general, are made up of cues. Some cues are there in the text you read, or in the passage you listen to, or in what you are listening to. There are some cues or clues that help you understand, helps you build these things. I want to stress that utterances are made up of cues or clues as to how to move back and forth between language and context. Situations, not signals of fixed and decontextualized meanings. In other words, these cues and clues also helps you to create a relation between the context and between what is said. And what is said and the situation in which it is said or there is a relationship that these cues and clues help you understand or discover. These cues or clues are part and parcel of what we called in chapter 2, if you remember, grammar 1 and grammar 2. So if you deal with them as one parcel, one package, you will find out that it has something to do with the grammar 1 and the grammar 2 that we have already covered. And grammar, okay. Then always contains cues or clues that guide us in the 6 sorts of building tasks listed below. The 6 sorts of building tasks, the tasks that we are going now to cover, their definitions are very much important. The definitions are very much important. So we have, let me make things simpler. As a listener or a leader, if you are a reader, in the text you read, there are some cues and clues that help you build some tasks that help you in general build or imagine a complete scene of what you read or of what you hear. These building tasks involve us in using language to construe the situation network in certain ways and not others. In other words, these tasks direct you, help you to understand a given text or to understand something you hear in a given way, in a certain way. They are carried out all at once and together, and they are carried out in negotiation and collaboration with others in interaction with due regard for other related oral and written texts and situation we have encountered before. In other words, in general, if we have a reader and we have a writer, or if we have a speaker and we have a listener, we have to suppose that there are some principles that are to be found between the speakers and the listeners. One of these principles is cooperation. Both of them cooperate. Collaboration that is between them. Cooperation between them to what? To make you understand. The speaker has an aim to make you understand. And you as a listener has an aim to understand the thing you hear according to the wish of the speaker. And once you speak, you become the speaker. And he himself will try also to understand the way you wish. So we said that there is a principle of cooperation between any speakers and any listeners. In other words, we do not speak to make things difficult. We do speak to make things easy. In other words, if we have this principle in mind, so whatever we hear, we know that it must be understood. If it is not understood, this means that there is something wrong. Now, these cues and clues are put in a way to help you construct, build, imagine, enable you to understand what you read or what you listen to. Even when we are silently reading, if you read a passage, if you are reading a passage silently, even when we are silently reading, these building tasks are carried out in negotiation. Once you negotiate somebody, you have a negotiation with somebody, you have an interaction with somebody and talk, these tasks are there. These building tasks are there, are to be found. Of course, they are found unconsciously. I mean, you do not know that they are found, but they are found. In a way or another, once we analyze the text, once we analyze what we hear, we find out that they are there. Even when we are silently reading, these building tasks are carried out in negotiation and collaboration with the writer in various guises, such as the actual writer, assumed writer, and the narrator, as well as in collaboration with other related texts we have read, sociocultural knowledge we bring to the text, and discussions we have had with other people. In other words, once we write something, once we say something, the sociocultural knowledge we have is indeed exploited, is indeed used to help you understand. It is to be taken into consideration. Why? Because something that could be said here might be understood in a way that the same thing, if it is said in another place, might be understood in another way. Put simply, whether you are a writer, whether you are a speaker, you have in your mind to say something, while you have in your mind the wish that the listener or the reader is to understand. So these principles, these tasks are to be there. Even when we are silently reading, these building tasks are carried out in negotiation and collaboration. They are there with the writer in various guises, such as the actual writer. Even if I write something, I know that I'm not facing the reader, but while writing something, I will have in my mind, I will put into consideration the sociocultural context, the sociocultural knowledge that the reader might have. That is, these building tasks can be seen simultaneously. They are working together. They are not separated. Yes, you will deal with them now as items, but indeed, once you read, once you listen, all of them do cooperate together as if they are one machine. Each part is very much important, but all of the parts are working together to achieve, to produce one product. one product. That product is the aim of the writer or the aim of the listener that he wishes you to understand or to get. That is, these building tasks can be seen simultaneously, working together at the same time simultaneously, as cognitive achievements, interactional achievements, and intertextual achievements. That's all with regard to this lecture. Indeed, I tried to summarize the most important points in it, and it is very much important for the exam, as I always say, but just concentrate on the most important point that I have just written to you. Thank you so much.